Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Yud Beis Amud Beis 12b of Meseches Megillah, starting from the very top line, the second word, and the Gemara continues to darshan, to elaborate on the words of the Megillah, and following, or towards the end of the feast that Achashverosh made for the people of Shushan, it says, Bayom HaShevi'i Kitov Lev HaMelech Bayayin. On the seventh day, when the king's heart was tov, was in good spirits from wine. And then the continuation of the pasuk is, he told his servants to bring Vashti. So the Gemara asks, Atu ad hashta lo tav libe b'chamra? Are you telling me that up till now his heart was not good with wine? He's been partying for 187 days. What do we mean on the seventh day? When his heart was good with wine. So it must be telling us something more. So Amar Rava, so says Rava, Yom HaShevi'i Shabbos Haya. What it's trying to point out is that it was the seventh day of the party, but it was Shabbos. She'Yisrael Ochlin V'Shosin, that when the Jewish people on Shabbos they eat and drink, Maschilin B'divrei Torah B'divrei Sishpachos. They begin with words of Torah and with words of praise of Hashem, and it's an auspicious time. The Jewish people and it was an auspicious time. The Jewish people were involved in their Shabbos Sudas. But idolaters who eat and drink, they discuss matters of foolishness, licentiousness. And that's what was happening at the feast of that wicked man, of Achashverosh. Halal Amrim Madayos Naos. There were some people saying, they got into an argument. What were they discussing at their feast? One group was saying the women from Madai, from Media, are the most beautiful. Halal Amrim Parsios Naos. The other ones were saying, no, the Persians are the most beautiful. Amar Lam Achashverosh. Achashverosh said to them, Kli shani mishtamish bo eno lo medai v'lo parsi. The vessel that I use is not a Median, it's not a Persian, el Kasti. It's a Kastian, it's a Babylonian. Ritzon chem lirosa, do you want to see her? Amrlo, in. So the men at the party said yes. Uvilvache tehei aruma. But they said, but she needs to be in the nude, because if she's wearing her royal vestments, that might be why she looks more beautiful. So if you want to win the argument, it has to be without her special royal clothes. And the Gemara explains that the reason why she was summoned in this manner was that in the same measure that a person measures out, God measures them. And it was a midah measure for measure, that Vashti was summoned to come unclothed. Why? Milamed shaisa Vashti harsha mevia benos Yisrael umafshitar arumos. It teaches that Vashti used to bring Jewish girls, her servants, and force them to strip naked. And she would force them to work on Shabbos. And therefore, as a punishment for making the girls work unclothed on Shabbos, she was summoned on Shabbos to appear before Achashverosh naked. Hainu dechsev, and that's what it means. Achar advarim ha'ele kishol chamas melech Achashverosh. That after these matters, meaning after Vashti's killed, and so when the king Achashverosh's anger diminished, zachar es Vashti ve'es asher asasa. He remembered Vashti and that which she had done, ve'es asher nigzar aleh, and that which was decreed against her. So what does it mean, that which she had done and that which was decreed against her? So what it means is that there is a correlation between that which she had done and that which was decreed against her. Just as she did, that's what was decreed against her. Just as she made the girls work on Shabbos unclothed, so too she was summoned on Shabbos to appear before Achashverosh and the other men at the party unclothed. Now what happened? Vatimain hamalka Vashti. The pasuk says that Vashti refused to come. Asked the Gemara, Mechti, let's take a look at this. Pritzasa Havai. She was a prutza. She was promiscuous. She was she had, she wouldn't have any problem appearing naked. So Damar Mar, as we said earlier, Shnei L'Dvar Aveir Niskavnu. Right, she made her party right near the men because they both had evil intentions in mind, sinful intentions, both her and Achashverosh. So my time lo asai. So why didn't she come when she was summoned? So Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. So Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says, Melamed sheparcha batzaras. What it teaches that she got tzaras, she got leprosy. And that's learned from the word, Rashi explains from the word nigzar, that it was nigzar aleha, it was decreed on her, because we find that in the context of someone who got tzaras, that it uses the same word. So that's one reason. She all of a sudden got all this leprosy, these dots, these blemishes, and that's why she didn't want to come. B'masni satana, in a Braisa it's taught, Ba Gabriel v'asala zanav, that Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, came and put a tail on her. That she had some kind of something sticking out of her that now she grew something, she didn't want to come in public. Okay, so that was Vashti. Now, just I guess recapping. So the Gemara began with Bayom Hashvi on the seventh day when the heart of the king was good from wine. So we explained that it means on the Shabbos when the heart of the king. I think what the Gemara is saying also is that it's when Hashem's heart, so to speak, Kaviyachol was good with the wine of the feasts, the feast that the Jews were having on that night. They were having their Shabbos Suda, and that was good in the eyes of Hashem, and was a merit for the people. And it's also pointing out there with Shabbos to bring out this idea of the midah k'neged midah, the measure for measure that Vashti got. Says the pasuk, continues the Gemara, Vayktov hamelech me'od, and the king got very angry, V'chamaso ba'aravo, and it continues and it says, and his anger burned in him. Amai dalka be'kulihai. Why did he get so angry? Asked the Gemara. So she refused to come, but why so angry? That it describes it in two ways, and he got very angry, and his anger burned in him. So Amar Rava says, Shalcholei, because she sent back a message that said, Bar ahuraire de Abba, the son of the stable boy of my father. That's how she referred to Achashverosh. So apparently Achashverosh's father was the stable boy of Belshazzar, Vashti's father. So she said, son of the stable boy of my father, Abba lekabel alfa chamra shasi. My father could drink with 1,000 people, V'lo Rav and not get drunk. And that's the story in Daniel when Belshazzar had his great party where he ended up getting killed, but he drank by 1,000 people, he drank with 1,000 people and he didn't get drunk. V'hu gavra, and this man, meaning Achashverosh, ishtati b'chamre, he gets drunk. She said, I'm not coming, you don't compare to my father. That's the message that she sent him. So that's why he got so angry. So miyad, so as a result, v'chamaso ba'ara vo, his anger burned in him. I'm wondering if perhaps the Gemara is coming off that it says his anger burned in him like that he was insulted. It was bo. It was over himself. That she must have said something that insulted him. Maybe. Okay. So then the king said to the chachamim, to the wise men, basically turned to them to find out what he should do with Vashti. So man chachamim, what does it mean? He said to the chacham, who are these wise men? Says the Gemara, Rabbanan. He asked the rabbis. He asked the rabbis who were around. Then he also calls them Yodei Ha'itim, those who knew the time. So it says, La Chachamim Yodei Ha'itim, the Chachamim who knew the times. What does that mean? Sheyodin la'aber shanim v'lekvoa chadashim. Knowing the times means they knew how to calculate when it's a leap year, and to establish months when it's a full month, when it's a 30-day month, 29-day month. So they knew how to calculate the times. So that's who he turned to. I believe some commentaries explain that the reason why he went to them and why it was significant that they knew how to calculate the years was he was actually trying to get Vashti off the hook. He didn't want to get his wife killed. So, but on the other hand, she had done this to the king. So he was hoping basically that she could be judged as a minor. And depending on how you calculate the years would determine her age, whether she was an adult or a minor. And if she was a minor, then they wouldn't have to find her guilty and responsible and kill her. So that's how some explain. So, Amar Lahu, he said to them, Dainu Ali, he said to the rabbis, judge her for me. So Amru, they said, Heichi Navid, what should we do? They said to themselves, what are we supposed to do? Neimale Katla, so if we tell him to kill her, Lemachlar Pasik Lechamre, the next tomorrow he's going to get over his wine, Vayilaminan, and he's going to ask, where is she? And if we tell her she was killed, he's not going to be too happy. And actually that's what happens, is he ends up asking other people, they tell him to kill her, and then he ends up having them killed. So Neimale Shavka, but if we tell him to leave her alone, let her off, Kamazalzala b'malchusa. But she was mezalzel, she disgraced his kingship. So we can't just say let her off, so what do we do? So they didn't want to answer. So Amrulo, they said to him, Miyom shechara Beis HaMikdash, from the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, V'galinu me'artzenu, and we've been exiled from our land, Nitla Eitzamenu, we've lost counsel, we've lost the ability to give a good counsel, and we don't really know how to judge capital cases. Zil Lagabi Ammon and Moav. Go ask the sages of Ammon and Moav. Deyasvi Beduchtayu, who sit in their place, Kechamra Deyasiv al Durdaya, like wine sitting on its sediments. That basically, don't ask us, go to them, and they're settled, and if they're settled, they'll have the wisdom. We were exiled, and that just befuddled our thinking process. But the Ammon and Moab, they're settling in their land. Go ask them. Amruleh. So the time of Amruleh, the Gemara says it was very reasonable what they were saying. Dichsiv, because the pasuk actually expresses this. The pasuk says in Yirmiyah, Shanan Moav mina Urav. Moab, the pasuk is specifically about Moab, but it says Moab is complacent or settled from its young days. Vishoketu al shmarav, and it's quiet on its sediments. V'lo hurak mikuyal kiyang, it hasn't been poured from vessel to vessel. Uvegolo lo halach, and it hasn't been sent into exile. Al kain amad tamo bo. Therefore, its taste has remained, and its smell, its scent has not diminished. So, and I think that the idea that its taste and its smell is still there is like they still have their wisdom, because they haven't been sent from place to place. They haven't been poured from one place to another. Okay. Miyad, immediately it says, Ve'akarov elav, and those who were near to him, Karshna, Shesar, and Masa Sarshish. So the simple reading of this pasuk is this is a list of names that were his immediate servants, and that's seemingly who he ended up turning to for counsel for how to judge Vashti. But Amar Reb Levi said, Kol pasuk zel shum karbanos nemar, that there's a deeper meaning here. This pasuk is referring to different karbanos, and I saw the Maharsha suggests that the way to read it is he asked the Chachamim for counsel. They declined, but they davened. And what did they daven? They davened v'akarov elav. They davened for that it should be good for the Jewish people, whatever happens. And they davened v'akarov elav. Hakarov means those who were close to him, but it's a reference to the karbanos. And they were expressing that, as we're about to see, that the karbanos should be a merit. So, Karshna. So one of the names of the advisors here was Karshna, But the deeper hint here is Amra Malchei Hasharis Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The angel said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shalom. Right. So the simple reading of this Gemara actually is not that the sages daven this. That might be Marshal. I think was coming off of a midrash that learns a little bit differently. This it says that the malachim, the angels, said this before God. Maybe v'hakarov elav, those who were close to him, is a reference to the angels, perhaps. So the malachim said, Ribono Shalom, Master of the world, klum hikrivu lefanecha karim b'nei shana. Did they not bring offerings before you of sheep that are only a year? Or did they? Meaning, did these Gentiles do that? Kedar shekrivu Yisrael fanecha, like the Jewish people did? So Karshna is like karim b'nei shana, sheep that are a year old. Then the next name was Shesar, and Shesar is a reference to the following: Klum hikrivu lefanecha shtei torin. Shesar stands for shtei torin, 2 doves. Did the Gentiles bring 2 doves before you, like the Jewish people bring? Admasa. Admasa was the next name. Klum banu lefanecha mizbeach adama. Did the Gentiles build a mizbeach of earth, an earth mizbeach, like the Jewish people did? Tarshish. Klum shimshu lefanecha b'vigdei kahuna. Did the Gentiles serve you in the Kohen's clothes? D'chsiv bahu Tarshish v'shoam v'yashbei. So on the Kohen Gadol's breastplate were different stones, and one of them is called Tarshish. So that was a reference to. So we have that the Jewish people brought did they bring this is a statement, a prayer, a plea that the Jewish people should be protected, and they're saying, did the Persians bring these karbanos? Did they bring sheep that were a year? Did they bring 2 doves? Did they build a mizbeach of earth for you? Did they serve with the Kohen's clothes? Then the next name was Meres, which is a name, but also kum mirsu b'dam ufanacha. Did they stir the blood before you? They would have to stir the blood so it didn't congeal before they sprinkled it. Marsina. The next name is Marsina. Kum mirsu b'menachos ufanacha. It also means mixing. Did they mix the menachos? The menachos were the flour offerings. They would mix together oil and flour. So did the Persians do that? No. So that was all a plea on behalf of the Jewish people. And finally, Memuchan, the last name was Memuchan, Kum Heichino Shulchan Lefanecha. Memuchan, from the word to prepare. Did they prepare the Shulchan? A Shulchan. The Shulchan was the table in the Beis HaMikdash that had the showbreads. Did the Persians do that? No. So all of these are a merit, should be a merit for the Jewish people. Okay. So it lists the names of the advisors, which also are a reference to the pleas of the angels before God. And then it says, Vayomer Memuchan. And Memuchan said. Says the Gemara, Tana, it was taught, Memuchan ze Haman. Memuchan is the same as Haman. So who was the one who suggested that Vashti should be killed? It was Memuchan in the pasuk, and Memuchan is Haman. V'lama nikra shema Memuchan. And why is he called Memuchan? Shemuchan leparanus, because he is prepared for paranus, for tragedy. So either it could mean he's prepared to cause it, or it's that he was muchan from the beginning. He was destined to have a tragic ending. Rav Chaim Kanievsky suggests a cute idea that the reason he changed his name, he really was called Memuchan, and he changed his name to Haman, because after he gave this bad advice, like we said, when Achashverosh came to his senses, and realized what he had done to Vashti, he got upset at his advisors and he had them killed. So but Memuchan, he changed his identity and he reemerged as Haman. That's how he avoided. It was like the witness protection program. That's how he avoided being killed. Amar of Kahana. Rav Kana said, Mikan shahediot kofetz barosh. You see from here that the most simple one jumped to the head, because in the list of the advisors, Memuchan is listed last, which sounds like he's the lowest. And then he was the first one to speak up. So he had chutzpah. Okay. Then, what was the advice that Memuchan gave, that Haman gave? He said that, besides for that Vashti should be killed, but that a proclamation should go out, Lios kalish sorer beveso, that every man should rule in his household. So Amar Rava said, Ilmale igaros harishonos, if not for these first letters, lo nishtayir misonen shel Yisrael stridu palat, there would be nothing remaining of the haters of Israel, but that's a euphemism to Israel. There would be nothing left of the Jewish people, not a remnant and not an escapee. Meaning it was divinely designed that they would first send out these letters and then the letters to destroy the Jewish people, because they first sent out this proclamation that the king rules, that every man should rule in his house. So the people received these letters. They said, "My hai, the Shadarlan, what is this that he's sending us? Lios kolish sorer bebeso, that every man should rule in his house. Pshita, obviously a man rules in his house. Afiu karcha bevese pardashcha lehave." Even the simple weaver in his house, he's like a nobleman. Of course the man is in charge of the house. So they ridiculed that first letter. They said this king is ridiculous. And because of that, when the next letters came out that said that, it was not for a few years, but that said that, on such and such a day the Jews are going to be destroyed, so they didn't rush to do it in advance because they didn't take it as seriously. Otherwise, they would have maybe jumped right in, because they remembered these other letters and they said there's something a little bit strange about this king, and they hesitated to act on it too quickly. And that's what saved the Jewish people. Okay, now after Vashti's killed, so Achashverosh is given the advice to go search for a new queen. And he's told, V'yafked melech pekidim, you should appoint appointees in all the provinces, and they should gather every virgin. V'yifkedu es kol na'ara besula, tovas mara, every beautiful virgin should be gathered. So Amar Rav said, Mai dichsiv, what does the pasuk mean when it says, in Mishlei, in Proverbs, it says, Kol arum yaseh bedas, every clever person does things wisely, uksil yifros ivelas, and the foolish person, he spreads out foolishness. Kol arum yaseh bedas, a wise person, a clever person does with wisdom, acts with wisdom, zeh David. That's David. Dichsiv, vayomer la'avadav, and his servant said to him, Yivakshel Adoni HaMelech na'ara besula, that we should find for our master the king a na'ara besula, a virgin young woman. At the end of David's life, he was very cold, and they sought a new wife for him to warm him, and but they only looked for one. So Koman dehava le'barta Isa nihale. So everyone who had a daughter wanted to help the king and was willing to bring forth their daughter because he was only looking for one. And he wasn't going to experiment and try out every single one. And so people were willing to suggest their daughters. However, uksil yifros yivalas, but a foolish person spreads out his foolishness. Achashverosh. That's Achashverosh Tichsiv, who about him it says, Vayafked melech pekidim, that he appointed messengers in all the provinces to gather all the virgins to his palace. So, it was understood he was going to try them out. So kol man dehavale barta, so anybody who had a daughter, it's maramina, hid her from him, because they did not want their, if they knew that he was only if they knew that he would only have relations with one, so then maybe they would be, well, okay, my daughter potentially be the queen, but she's not going to be defiled if not. So, but because he summoned all of them, so people did not want to send their daughters. That was foolish of him. Okay, now we go to where the Megillah introduces us to Mordechai. It says, Ish Yehudi haya b'Shushan habira. There was a Yehudi man in Shushan, the capital. And it says his name was Mordechai, Shmuel Mordechai ben Yair, the son of Yair, ben Shimi, the son of Shimi, ben Kish, the son of Kish, Ish Yemini, a man from Binyamin. So, Micah Amar, what's it saying here, giving us this list of his lineage? If it's trying to tell us his yichus, his lineage, so it should continue to go up until Binyamin, which is who he descended from. Why does it stop? It just says Ben Yair, Ben Shimi, Ben Kish, and then it stops there. It should continue to go up. Not only that, but also it's not even in order. It skips some generations. For example, Shimi was not the son of Kish. It says Ben Yair, Ben Shimi, Ben Kish, but Shimi was Shimi ben Gera, as we'll see from the next Gemara. We'll do it next time, but so Shimi ben Gera, who was around in the days of David HaMelech, and he was the son of Gera, not the son of Kish. So what's going on? So Ella Maishnahani, so why did it say these specific names? He was the son of Ben Yair, Ben Shimi, Ben Kish. So Tana was Kulan al Shmo Nikru. All these were actually names for Mordechai. They may have been his ancestors, but they also were names that were fitting for him. Ben Yair, was fit to call him Ben Yair, the son who enlightened. Ben Shahir name Shal Yisrael b'tfilaso. He's the man who brought light to the eyes of Israel with his tefillah. He was able to curb the gezerah, not on his own, but his tefillah, his prayer was a major player. Ben Shimi, he was called Ben Shimi, Ben Sheshama al Tfilah, he was the one whose tefillah was listened to, his prayer was listened to. Ben Kish, he was called Ben Kish, Shehikish al Sharei Rachamim, Beniftachu, because he banged, Kish means to bang, he banged on the gates of mercy, and they were opened for him. So that's why it calls him by those specific names. Now, Karile Yehudi, Amam Yehuda Kasi. On the one hand, it says he was Ish Yehudi, it sounds like he was from the tribe of Yehuda. V'Karile Yamini, but it also calls him Ish Yamini, which means Amam Binyamin Kasi, which means he came from the tribe of Binyamin. So which one was it? Was he from Yehuda or was he from Binyamin? So Amar Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman says, Mordechai Mukhtar B'nimuso Haya. Mordechai was crowned with different names. Nimus it's actually related to the word names in Greek. So he was crowned with names, meaning that I think that he was from Binyamin, but Ish Yehudi also defined who he was in some way. Gemara doesn't explain how, but he was from Binyamin, but he was also called Ish Yehudi. That's one answer. Another answer. One second. Yeah, I think he would be called Ish Yehudi to show that he was like someone from Yehuda, fit to be king. He wasn't from Yehuda, but it was like he was from Yehuda. Okay. Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Yoshua ben Levi. Rabba Bar Chana says the name of Yoshua ben Levi. Avim ben Binyamin v'imam Yehuda. The reason why it says both Ish Yehudi and Ish Yamini is because his father was from Binyamin, he was Ish Yamini, he was from Binyamin, but his mother was from Yehuda. V'Rabbanan Amri, which by the way means he combined the special traits of both of these tribes. V'Rabbanan Amri, and the Rabbanan say, Mishpachos Miskaros Zu B'Zu, that the families argue over him. Mishpachas Yehuda Omeres Ana Garim Dimis Yawid Mordechai. The people of Yehuda said, we caused Mordechai to be born. Delo Katle David L'Shimi Ben Gera. Okay, so actually we have it in this week's Amud, that when David HaMelech was on the run, Shimi Ben Gera threw rocks at him, and David did not have him killed. He left it to Shlomo later he put him kind of under house arrest or city arrest. Shimi Ben Gera was not allowed to leave Yerushalayim, but David didn't have him killed, even though he was married to Malchus. He rebelled against the king. Now, because of that, he was able to have a child, and eventually had Mordechai. So who caused Mordechai to be born? The tribe of Yehuda, because they didn't kill Shimi Ben Gera, because David HaMelech didn't kill Shimi Ben Gera. So they took responsibility. They say, Mordechai is one of us. Not that he descends from us, but he's here because of us. That's why he was Ish Yehudi, because they took responsibility for him. Umishpachas Binyamin Amra Minai Kasi, but the people of Binyamin said, he's a Benjamite, he's from us. And so he's also called Ish Yemini because each took responsibility, each claimed the rights to him, so to speak. Okay, the Gemara is going to have another approach to this, but we'll save that for next time.